Hey, what's up everybody? It's Carpo, or Josh if you will. I wanted to make a quick note to the idea that people suck. You know, I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of people say that they've given up on humanity and that people are selfish and generally self-indulgent and that society is never going to work right. And I'm kind of with people on that to a degree. I mean, it depends on what you're trying to get out of this society. I said something yesterday, that comment that I had stuck in my head. A man becomes right when he ceases to be wrong, and that's kind of in the line of what I'm thinking here, in the sense that we can argue or discuss all day the different aspects of life and what's important. But ultimately, in the end, the more you dig and the more you converse with the person, the more you find the differences. You know, you always see the similarities at first. Something as simple as maybe you're both at the same sports game, or maybe you're both in the same class at school, or you have similar interests. But the more you find out about a person, the more you find little parts you don't like. I think we need to get past that, because there's always going to be parts you don't like. In other words, it seems like people expect this society to fall apart because merely because they expect people to be different. People should be like me. People need to do what I do. I know how to live life. You know, I see people who are living, it appears that they're living in a bad way, but sometimes I think they may be better off than I am in certain ways, and we can learn from each other in that regard. You know, I've met people who are very, very good with their personal lives, but they're really not. They're horrible with people, or vice versa. So I wanted to make an analogy really quick with that. Driving. I was on my way to work today, and there's generally mild to heavy traffic. I leave about an hour earlier than I have to, just so I can avoid it. But there's always that one guy that has to get there faster than everybody else, right? And it's easy to just look at that guy just weaving in and out of traffic and think people suck. You know, people are assholes, people are self-righteous, they're putting people in danger. I think we're missing the entire forest. We're not seeing the big picture that the other 99% of the people are playing by the rules. They may not like it, but they're playing by the rules. You can't suspect that every one of those hundreds of thousands of drivers out there in the state are just driving safely because they want to, or they're driving the speed limit because they want to. Now they're following rules that have been set in motion by our own society. So they're saying, well, this is what a majority of people expect is a safe speed on this road, or this is the law we put into effect that says no passing here or no U-turns here. Now, on one hand, I hear people complain about stuff like that, like, it's the government stepping in my business, look at, they're making all these rules and all these laws. And so making the analogy that the laws were made generally by the people. I'm not going to doubt that there are plenty of laws that were put into effect to protect big companies. That's not the laws I'm talking about. I'm talking about the laws that were generally voted upon by small communities and state legislature, where we put forth certain laws into motion that assist us as a whole. And they don't benefit everyone. There's always going to be a law. The reason why laws are put into effect is because people do things that they're not supposed to do, that harm the society or themselves. So people say, damn, get your laws off me, and you can't make laws. Society makes all these laws. To a degree, that's true. It's a problem, but it's like Max Igan said the other day. He's like made a really good point when I was listening to him. He says that the people aren't really the society that we live in, right? The people, we look at them a certain way and don't really grasp the individuality of people. But when it comes down to laws are generally set up by the people. And he says, you know, he was talking about crime rates. He was saying, a lot of people say, look at the U.S., look at the crime rates, you know, look how high they are. And the point that was made was that crime only occurs when a law is broken. So therefore, a high crime rate is nothing more than a high law rate. It means that you have too many laws put into effect. There are probably more laws than people in a lot of areas, and in some countries there are more laws than people. Millions and millions of laws. Every little thing you can imagine. Do this, don't do that. And it's easy, when I compare it to traffic, when people are driving, you know, speeding erratically, driving in and out, I try to remember that person's breaking the rules. Maybe they're in a hurry. Maybe they've got it. I remember I've wove in and out of traffic hauling ass, you know, to try to get to a really important thing that I had to get to. And a lot of people would say, oh, what's so important? You got to be there, you know, put yourself in danger. Probation meeting. You don't show up on time, you go to jail or you get in trouble. A few years back, I was on probation. If I was late to see my PO, I'd have to haul ass, you know, and certain classes and stuff, you know. So what you do is you weigh the danger, and you weigh the danger against the benefits, and hope that the mind can make the right decision. I got to check the camera really quick to see what time I have here. Okay, so you know, I guess I'm not supporting or condoning all the laws that we have. I'm not saying that everything's hunky-dory and perfect. It never will be, unless you change your view of what perfect really is. If you expect everything to be perfect all the time and people to be perfect all the time, you're going to be disappointed many times over. And I know that I had some ideas in my head in the past about, you know, my idealist sense. I don't like being an idealist, so I ceased to do that. I don't like to sit and say, if the world was like this, then this. If people did this, then this. That's unproductive. And because people aren't like that, and the world isn't like that. We live in a place that's chaotic and crazy. And each day we have to step back, take a deep breath, look around and remember we're still alive. We're still here. We're still doing this. And while it's fun to wonder about other people and what makes them tick, you never quite understand unless you are another person. I try. I really try to understand people based. This is why psychology became, you know, so prominent. It's because people wanted to understand what makes people tick. Unfortunately, psychology took many of the important things to people and tries to make them seem like they're just all in their head, like, you know, beliefs and thoughts and ideals and dreams. But everything's in our head anyway, so the only thing you can really know for sure is that you are consciousness. You're conscious. That's it. If we don't understand ourselves, how can we expect to understand anybody else? So, peace. You're all doing well and have a great